very powerfully, very emphatically said, "I'm your companion. I'm your companion," and he walked away. And and to me, that was such an important revelation for me because one, it felt like he was listening to our conversation. Uh, it felt like he resonated with the notion I had that a companion is really important because they, a companion stays with you through the journey. And in our life, in today's our samsara, having Swami as your companion is so critical as we are all in our own spiritual journeys.
Sairam, dear listeners, welcome to Sai SOUL 100. Our guest today is Brother Balajee Sethuraman, who's joining us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sairam, Brother Balajee, welcome to Sai SOUL 100.
Sairam, Sister Prabha, and it's wonderful to be here.
Thank you, Sairam. Please share your story.
Sure. First of all, offering my loving pranams at Swami's lotus feet. It's really a privilege and an honor to share some part of my experience, and it's been a wonderful experience listening to the amazing, experiences from so many brothers and sisters over the course of the Sai Souls, 100 journey. And just by way of introduction, we I was born in India in Chennai, but very early on we moved to the Middle East to a country called Bahrain. My father went there in 1976. We went there in 1978, and I think our introduction to Swami was in the early 80s, probably 81, 82, if I can recollect. And it's quite incredible the number of experiences a small country like Bahrain had. Um, my first real experience of Swami was, through a very close family friend of ours, and they had a physical manifestation of Swami in their house. And when they were away, Mr. Dwarknath, his mother was visiting from India, and when they were away, someone rang at the door, and she opened the door, and it was Swami standing. And she, she almost fainted when she woke up. There was an apple next to her, and ever since then, wherever she has been going to any devotee's house, Vibhuti comes from pictures in their home. Another event I remember is, I think it was during a birthday celebration or something. It was in a Gujarati Krishna temple in Bahrain, and they were doing arti to Swami towards the end, and my father was standing at the back of the temple and observing the arti. After the event was over, the gentleman next to him asked him, what is the significance of doing arti? And who is this person? So my father explained to him that, we consider him to be God. He's our guru. And arti is supposed to be an offering, is our prayers to him. And he said, the reason I ask you is until a few seconds ago, this person was standing right next to me, and you're all doing a arti to a photo when this person is standing right next to me. And so, we've just had some incredible experiences in Bahrain. And obviously, I was really young at that point of time. These things were really fascinating. And over a period of time, that devotion grew. And my first darshan in Puttaparthi was also probably early 80s when it was still sands in the mandir. And I happened to be sitting in the front row, and Swami came and stood right in front of me. I had no idea the importance, the significance of that at that point of time. And after Swami moved away, his footprints were right in front of me on the sand. And I had people, devotees, jumping all over me to take piece of that sand away. And I also took some sand from there and took it away as a souvenir. But very soon, I think Swami really became the focal point of all of our lives. So I have a brother. His name is Bharat, who also did his BCom in Vrindavan, and um, it was right from those days that my mother had a dream that one day both her sons would study there. And eventually, with Swami's blessings, I got a chance uh, to join the MBA program in Puttaparthi, and really had an amazing opportunity to be very close with Swami. Now, so many people ask me how that experience was, being close to Swami. Keep in mind that, at that age, we're all still kids. We're young. Our relationship with Swami sometimes tends to be very transactional. Like we come for darshan, we see him, we talk to him. He has things to say to us. He asks us to maybe help him distribute prasad, distribute saris to devotees. So it's very transactional. But every now and then he would demonstrate that he's very omnipresent, and it was very routine for Swami to come and talk to you about uh, things that you may have spoken about in the hostel, or conversations you may be having with other students, and Swami will come and say, I know you said this, and so on. And it would suddenly remind you that, who you're taking for granted every day to have a conversation is really, the Lord Almighty. And so those were like really brilliant times. Now, one particular day, my friends and I in the hostel room were having a conversation about which is more important, a friend or a companion? Who is more important? And we had different arguments. Some were saying a friend is more important because they truly understand you, and they can help you in times of need. And some of us were saying, well, a companion is more important because a companion means someone who's staying with you through the journey and who's always part of your journey and with you all the time. And so we had this debate going on, and we left it as always. After a certain point, we all agreed to disagree on certain points, and we just left it. Now that evening, Swami um, visited our hostel. So, and it's always a big event when Swami visits the hostel. There's just so much that's planned. It's so exciting to see him in the hostel walking around. Then all of us get a chance to spend time in the dining hall, have a meal with him, and then Swami will bless us with a talk and so on. We have bhajans in front of him sometimes. So it's a really special moment when Swami comes into the hostel. And so we all were waiting. I was standing towards the entrance, and Swami's car came in, the door opened, and he took a step out, and he walked straight to me, straight. It's as though he came in to give me a message. So he walked straight to me, and with his finger, he poked at my chest like this a few times, said, "Who's your companion? Who's your companion?" And I just kept quiet because sometimes you want Swami to also say tell you the answer. So I just kept quiet, and then he said very, very, very powerfully, very emphatically, he said, "I'm your companion. I'm your companion," and he walked away. And to me, that was such an important revelation for me because one, it felt like he was listening to our conversation. Um, it felt like he resonated with the notion I had that a companion is really important because a companion stays with you through the journey. And in our life, in today's our samsara, having Swami as your companion is so critical as we are all in our own spiritual journeys. And I felt really happy about that. And since then, I've always thought of him as a companion and someone not very different or not separate from me, and very much within me. And and that's been, I would say, a real foundation for my relationship with Swami over the years, because I've always felt that he's a companion and he's with me in the journey, whether it's going well or not going well, occasional ups and downs, that I've always felt he's with me, and I don't really have to worry. It's something that's very imprinted in my psyche. And um, even after we left the university, after I finished my MBA, uh, I wanted to narrate one specific experience. So we moved to the US in 1997, and we landed in New Jersey. I had joined a company in India that transferred me to the US, and we landed. We were in a corporate apartment for a little while, and then we found, in New Jersey, it's if you find an apartment, you have to book it in like 2 hours, otherwise it's gone. And so we finally found one in a town called Nutley and Clifton. And we went to see that apartment very quickly. I called my wife and said, we have to go see this apartment because we have a few hours before we may lose it. And so we went and saw this apartment. It was very poorly kept. And so the rental office said that, well, look, we're going to have to completely redo this apartment. You can take a look at how it is now, but we're going to have to change the carpets. We're going to change the appliances, redo the paint, everything. So we looked at it, looked great. And we also had a friend who lives close by. So we said, okay, this is great. We'll just take it. And they said, look, we need about a month and a half. We're going to clean it all up completely. We're going to redo everything. And then you will have the apartment. So we paid the deposit, we left. And 1.5 months later, we came in to the apartment. Uh, it was just me and my wife, and I think the rental office person was there as well. We opened the apartment, we walked in, everything was brand new. The appliances were new, the carpets were new. And then as we went into the living room, right in the middle of the living room on the carpet, there was a packet of vibhuti, the same packet of vibhuti that Swami gives to us during our in the interview room. And it was mind-boggling because there was nobody, they had it was all construction workers who had come, cleaned it up. They'd vacuumed the carpets the day before. There was no possibility for anyone to have come in and kept vibhuti right at the center of the living room. So that was, one example of you just feel like Swami is already there. Swami is with you, right? And it was an incredible experience overall, and we just felt very, very uh, safe and secure that Swami's ahead of us here. He's welcoming us, and so on. That was one example where, to me, even today, I get goosebumps thinking about it because it was something just so unexpected. The Another thing that came into mind, during my time in Puttaparthi, I had just started singing in the mandir, and it was a true honor. Swami has to bless everyone who sings in the mandir, and I finally got an opportunity. And after I started singing, Swami had because there was a lot of construction going on in the mandir at that time. Swami was in Brindavan for some time, and one night I got a dream, and Swami is very, very angry in the dream. And Swami said, all you students, you just want to keep singing Rama and Krishna and Sai and so on. Nobody is singing Sarvadharma bhajans. And there are so many people here from so many different religions. It's very important to sing Sarvadharma bhajans. And he looked at me and again very pointedly said, learn Sarvadharma bhajans, sing Sarvadharma bhajans. And so I woke up with a start, and I said, okay, I should try to sing Sarvadharma bhajans whenever possible. And next morning, I went to um, the gentleman who was our music, bhajan coordinator, bhajan teacher, and I told him about this dream. And then he and another person who was sitting next to him, they just looked at each other with shock. And uh, then he explained to me that just the day before in Brindavan, Swami had asked to speak to all the bhajan singers and had told them, and was very angry, and had told them that they need to sing Sarva Dharma bhajans because there are so many devotees from so many parts of the world. And it was just amazing that the conversation he had with the bhajan group in Vrindavan, he had the same conversation with me that night, in my dream. And so again, this was another example of where Swami really became a companion through my journey. What really comes to mind, as I reflect, he's always been with me through my life, whether I knew him to be Swami or not, right? God as the eternal charioteer, he has been very much with all of us. I remember even during my engineering days before I went and did my MBA, every year before the examination results came, I would go to Puttaparthi and just pray. And inevitably, before every results, he has materialized Vibhuti for me sitting in the darshan line. And sometimes it's not for me, he's given it to somebody, but as he gives it to a few others, I got some as well. So um, and right after that, the results would come, and thankfully, I would have done reasonably well. And so as I reflect, he's always been there, and he has always been a companion, through this journey. And so as I think about it, he's really, really not separate from me, and therefore, really not separate from anybody. Sometimes I think we create an artificial distance between ourselves and Swami by thinking of Swami different from us. And I can say with conviction that thinking of Swami as an integral part of yourself has gone a long way in my own journey of spiritual growth, because you really you're really part of the same universal consciousness. You're not anything different. And eventually, and Swami has said so many times, you are also God. It's just that you don't realize you're God. You have to truly think of Swami and you as one, and that's the real evolution of I think for each of us. And I think this notion has also really helped me gravitate more and more towards Advaita. It feels very complex overall, right? You think about us as separate from God, but eventually Advaita says that there is no duality, there is just a singularity, and that is God, and that is all of us. And so the notion of Swami as a companion, as an eternal companion, has been just an incredible progress, I think, in my own evolution towards the notion of just seeing everything as one. And it's a drama that we're seeing in front of us, but you have to realize it's a drama, and we're here to learn a few things and evolve. That was one of the key things I really wanted to talk about today. I'll also say that the retreat we had this year was also themed Eternal Companion, and I was very, very happy to see that theme. And I think it all of the speakers, as well as the various events we had, whether it was YAs or the adults, the SSC, it was so heartening to see that theme being resonated, in so many ways, in so many simple messages. So that's really the core thing I wanted to share today.
Sairam, Brother Balaji, thank you for sharing your stories. From your very young age, you witnessed miracles before you could probably even comprehend, right? And that's really a beautiful way to start your journey. But the miracles didn't stop; it continued. When you were studying in Vrindavan, the conversation Swami heard of you, whether friendship or companion is better, and Swami coming to you directly and telling you, I'm your companion, right? But although he told you directly, even without him telling you directly, your life experiences have allowed you to come to the conclusion that he is your eternal companion. right? So life experiences and him directly telling you reinforces the fact that he truly is the eternal companion, and he has been there with you even before, from your young ages, and then even till now. And it's really nice that you're able to see him in every action, everything that you do as your eternal companion. I'm touched by the vibhuti manifesting one small packet of vibhuti in the middle of your living room. That I was getting goosebumps as I was hearing that. It's again reinforcing the fact that he's your eternal companion and he's always there with you.
No, absolutely. And it's really, I think each of us um, should not forget that Swami is not separate from us. And as much as he's he was in a physical form and he may be in another physical form, uh, he is always there and he is part of you. And it's every moment in my time in Parthi was evidence, not maybe sometimes for me, but for so many other brothers and sisters of this fact. And it's something we should never forget.
Thank you. Thank you for joining Sai Soul 100 and sharing your story. Sairam, dear listeners, thank you for listening to Sai Soul 100 with Brother Balajee Sethuraman. I'm Prabha Swaminathan. Until next time, Jai Sairam.